Friends, what would happen if China went crazy and started taking control of America? First, China would set up a huge camp and ask all its forces to gather there. Then, all the forces would move toward the camp. And in no time, China would gather an army of up to 2 million soldiers. But even this large army wouldn't be enough to take control of a powerful country like America. However, China wouldn't stop there. It would send messages to other forces. Seeing this, all the other forces would also move toward the camp, and China would quickly gather the world's largest army of 2.5 million soldiers. Now, China would plan to launch a surprise attack on America with all its strength. But to reach America, it would have to cross a huge ocean. So, China creates a very dangerous plan to fully take control of America. China sends a message to all South American countries, asking for help to attack America. In exchange, China promises to give them a lot of land in America. The countries in South Asia agree and set up camps for China's forces, from where they can attack America. China then sends a special force of 500,000 soldiers towards South America. These soldiers will move quickly and reach China's city, Shanghai. China will prepare its largest and most special ships for these soldiers. The soldiers will quickly board these ships, and then the ships will move towards South America. Now, this is a huge threat for America. But China doesn't stop here. China also plans to attack Alaska with the rest of its soldiers, but it will need Russia's help for this. China sends a message to Putin and asks for help, and Putin agrees right away. Now, China sends 800,000 special soldiers to Russia, from where they will attack Alaska. Meanwhile, the Chinese ships reach South America, and all Chinese soldiers move toward the camps. Soon, all the Chinese soldiers gather, and countries like Argentina, Nicaragua, and Bolivia also send some of their soldiers to help China. This increases the number of Chinese soldiers to 1 million. This was all part of China's plan to make its forces stronger with the help of South American countries. On the other hand, 800,000 Chinese soldiers had reached Russia, where they set up a large camp. Putin also sends 200,000 special troops to help China. With their help, China will soon have around 1 million soldiers, by which they can attack Alaska. But the American supreme agents in China already inform America about all of this. When America sees this, it will become very angry and quickly set up its own camp, calling all its soldiers to gather. Soldiers from all over America will move towards the camp, and soon, America will assemble an army of 1.4 million regular soldiers. But this army won't be enough to face China. After this, America sends messages to all its other forces, and soon those forces also move towards the camp, and America quickly gathers a huge army of 2.2 million soldiers. On the other hand, Chinese soldiers have entered Alaska after eliminating some border guards. Some USA soldiers stationed in Alaska move forward to stop the Chinese forces, but the Chinese soldiers are many times stronger. The USA soldiers bravely face the Chinese soldiers, but the Chinese forces attack with full strength and wipe them out. When this news reaches America, it prepares 400,000 special soldiers and orders them to move towards Alaska. Soon the USA soldiers move quickly towards Alaska. Meanwhile, China makes a big move. It sends a message across the country asking all Chinese tanks to gather. Soon, all the Chinese tanks move towards the camp, and in no time, China assembles the largest tank fleet in the world. Now, China has a total of 7,000 tanks, all fully prepared for attack. China makes another big move and gets 3,000 of the most advanced tanks ready. Then, it orders all these tanks to move towards Shanghai, and all the tanks start heading towards Shanghai. On the other hand, American soldiers had reached Alaska, but by then, an advance army of 1 million Chinese and Russian soldiers had already taken control of Alaska. The USA had received information about 500,000 Chinese soldiers, but this army was much larger than expected. Because of this, the American army is now waiting for orders from the camp. China's next target is Canada, and once it takes control of Canada, it will launch a full attack on mainland America and take control of it. Meanwhile, all the tanks have reached Shanghai, where many Chinese ships were waiting for them. After that, all the tanks are loaded onto the ships and sent towards South America. This was part of China's plan. As soon as America's forces try to take back Alaska, they will be attacked from behind. At that time, all the forces will be fighting the Chinese and Russian armies in Canada, while China will attack mainland USA with its tanks and take control of it. Now, America is fully in danger. Chinese ships carrying tanks have reached South America. After that, all the tanks are unloaded and they start moving towards the camp. Soon, 3,000 of China's advanced tanks safely reach the camp. Then, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and Colombia send about 1,000 more tanks towards the Chinese camps. So in the South American camp, China now has about 4,000 tanks gathered. This is a big threat to America. If it doesn't act quickly, its land will be in danger. On the other hand, China takes another big step and separates 3,000 more tanks. It orders these tanks to move towards Russia, from where they will head towards Alaska and launch a full attack on the American forces. They will defeat them and take control of Canada, after which they will be able to easily attack America. Now, all the Chinese tanks are moving towards Alaska, but the supreme agents of America in China inform America about these 3,000 advanced Chinese tanks. This is a huge threat for America. If it doesn't act quickly, its 400,000 soldiers stationed at the border will be killed. America sends messages across the country asking all American tanks to gather. Tanks from all over the country move towards the camp, and in just a few days, America gathers all its tanks. Now, America has a total of 4,600 tanks. On the other side, all the Chinese tanks have reached Russia, where a special camp is set up for them. All the Chinese tanks are fully prepared for the attack, while Russia sends some of its tanks to help China. Soon, the number of Chinese tanks increases from 3,000 to 5,000. Out of these, 1,000 tanks are kept in reserve by China, and the remaining 4,000 tanks are ordered to move towards Alaska. After that, all the Chinese tanks begin advancing towards Alaska. On the other side, America prepares its 2,000 most advanced tanks and orders them to move towards Alaska to face the Chinese tanks. The American tanks move quickly towards Alaska. If the Chinese tanks reach the border of Canada first, all the American soldiers will be killed. But China was waiting for this. Now, China makes its biggest move. It sends a message to Mexico, asking for permission to use its land to attack America. However, Mexico remains loyal to America and refuses China's request. This makes China very angry, and it decides to take control of Mexico, from where it can attack America. China is confident that its tanks will easily crush Mexico, but Mexico is ready to fight until its last breath. China orders its tanks to move towards Mexico, and the Chinese tanks begin moving towards Mexico at full speed. In response, Mexico prepares 120 tanks to face them. Meanwhile, in Alaska, the American and Chinese tanks are now facing each other. The Chinese tanks that America had heard about are much more advanced than expected. When the Chinese tanks see the American tanks, they start to retreat. America thinks that the Chinese tanks have given up after seeing the advanced American tanks and will now move back from Alaska. But this was all part of China's big plan. China had set a huge trap in Alaska. The American tanks now move forward to take back control of Alaska. However, many of the American tanks fall into China's trap and are destroyed, while some tanks get badly damaged. After this, the Chinese tanks move forward with full force towards the American tanks and reach them in a short time. The Chinese tanks attack with full force, destroying many American tanks. But the American tanks fight bravely. The American tanks launch a full attack and destroy many of China's tanks. But the Chinese tanks are many times more. Once again, China attacks with all its strength and destroys many more American tanks. China has advanced tanks that are far superior to the American tanks, while on the other side, the American soldiers are much braver, ready to fight until their last breath. Now, China orders all its tanks to attack together, and soon, all the Chinese tanks launch a joint attack on the American tanks. Most of the American tanks are destroyed, and the rest are severely damaged. Seeing this, the Chinese soldiers advance and take control of the American tanks. When the soldiers at the border see this, they realize that they are now in danger. China can attack them at any moment with its tanks and wipe them out. Seeing this, the American soldiers retreat and spread out across Canada to protect it from the Chinese tanks. Meanwhile, 3,000 Chinese tanks have reached Mexico, and in response, Mexico has 120 fully prepared tanks ready. However, Mexico had already set a trap for the Chinese tanks. But China already knows about this trap, so it first sends some special tanks ahead. The Chinese tanks move quickly and reach Mexico's trap. There is a huge explosion, but since these are China's most special tanks, they don't get much damage. Now China orders all its tanks to move forward together. The Chinese tanks move quickly and reach the Mexican tanks. The Mexican tanks attack the Chinese tanks with full force, but the Chinese tanks are very advanced, so they don't take much damage. Then, some of China's tanks attack the Mexican tanks, and soon, most of the Mexican tanks are completely destroyed, while the rest are badly damaged. Seeing this, the Chinese soldiers move forward and take control of the Mexican tanks. Mexico's defense is completely broken, and the Chinese tanks continue to move forward and take control of Mexico. Seeing this, America gets very angry. China thinks that it has already destroyed all of America's tanks, and that will easily take control of America. On the other hand, America now decides to use all its power to protect its land. America prepares all its tanks together, some of which it orders to move towards Mexico, and others to move towards Canada. However, the Chinese tanks have already broken Canada's defense and are quickly taking control of Canada. American soldiers, hiding in Canada, try to secretly attack the Chinese tanks, but the Chinese tanks are very strong, and destroying them seems almost impossible. The Chinese tanks move forward quickly and take full control of Canada. Now, America's land is completely at risk, and China can attack at any moment with full force and take control of America completely. America now has to take quick, big action, or its land will be in danger. Meanwhile, China makes another move. It prepares many of its advanced submarines and plans to launch a surprise attack on America through the sea. China orders all its submarines to move towards America, but America's supreme agents, hidden in China, send a message to America. When America sees this, it becomes very angry. America prepares its most advanced submarines to stop China's submarines. But America doesn't stop there. It sends a message across the country, asking all helicopters to gather. Soon, helicopters from all over the country move towards the camp, and America quickly assembles 5,400 helicopters. America plans to use these helicopters to attack China's submarines from the air and destroy them completely. America prepares 4,000 of its most advanced helicopters and orders them to move towards the Chinese submarines. This will be a surprise attack, where American helicopters will launch a dangerous attack on China's submarines and completely destroy them. But China's supreme agents, hidden in America, send a message to China, informing them about the American helicopters. Seeing this, China decides to attack with all its strength. It prepares its fifth-generation advanced jets, which are the most powerful jets China has, and almost impossible to defeat. China orders all these jets to move towards the American helicopters, and soon, the advanced Chinese jets speed towards the American helicopters and submarines to destroy them. Meanwhile, China orders its tanks to attack the American tanks. Soon, American and Chinese tanks start attacking each other with missiles. Both sides have the world's most advanced tanks. China attacks with full force and destroys many American tanks. The Chinese tanks are many times more than the American ones, but America is using its advanced technology to give China a tough fight. On the other side, China's advanced fighter jets and submarines have reached the American helicopters and submarines. The American helicopters are shocked when they see the Chinese jets. The American helicopters attack with full force, and many of China's submarines are sunk. But the American helicopters don't stop there. They launch another full attack, and this time, all the Chinese submarines are sunk. But this doesn't end here. Now, American helicopters think of attacking Chinese jets as well. The American helicopters attack the Chinese jets, but all the Chinese jets manage to avoid the attack because they are the world's most advanced jets. Now it's time for the Chinese jets to strike back. The Chinese jets attack very quickly, and many American helicopters are destroyed. The Chinese jets are equipped with very advanced technology, and it is nearly impossible for the American helicopters to destroy them or escape. The American helicopters retreat and try to escape, but the Chinese jets chase them at full speed and catch up with them. The American soldiers bravely attack them and manage to shoot down several Chinese jets, but the Chinese jets are much faster. The Chinese jets fire missiles at the American helicopters all at once, destroying all of them. But the Chinese jets don't stop here. Now they plan to attack China's submarines. The Chinese jets move forward towards America's submarines and reach them. Now, the American submarines are completely in danger, and there seems to be no way for them to survive. But these are the world's most advanced submarines, and the American submarines begin to dive deeper into the water, going very far below the surface. Now, the Chinese jets cannot catch them. Seeing this, the Chinese jets move forward towards America. Meanwhile, American submarines have already informed America that the Chinese jets have destroyed all the American helicopters and are now heading towards America. Upon hearing this, America activates all its defense systems. These are the world's most advanced missile systems. The Chinese jets have now reached America. The Chinese jets are confident that the American missiles won't be able to catch their advanced jets, and now they believe they will easily take control of all of America. But as soon as the jets move forward, America is confident that its advanced missile systems can take down even fifth-generation advanced jets. America's defense systems fire missiles with full force, and many Chinese jets are shot down, with several jets badly damaged. Seeing this, the Chinese jets become extremely fearful because they were sure that the Americans wouldn't be able to catch them. If the Chinese jets had stayed a little longer, they would have been completely destroyed. The Chinese jets retreat and quickly move back towards China, but America doesn't stop there. America prepares its sixth-generation advanced jets to take back its land from China. The sixth-generation jets launch a deadly attack on Chinese tanks, destroying them, and then plan to capture all the Chinese and Russian soldiers. But China's supreme agents hidden in America send a message to China, informing them about America's sixth-generation jets. Now China must act quickly, or all its 2 million soldiers will be killed. China sends a message to all its soldiers, ordering them to retreat. The Chinese soldiers begin to flee from Mexico and Canada, and within a few days, they disappear. After this, American soldiers advance and take control of the Chinese tanks. They also free Canada and Alaska once again. Seeing this, China sends a message to America, asking for forgiveness and promising not to do it again. China asks for all its tanks back. America, showing it as the bigger brother, forgives China, but refuses to return any of the Chinese tanks. Friends, what do you think? Will China attack America again?